Hey class, so this video is on writing equations given a point and a slope. So in the previous video and previous sections, you guys have done awesome on when I gave you a slope and the y-intercept. You guys did fantastic for me, putting that into an equation. But now when we have, we normally had slope, instead of giving y-intercept, I give you a point. We have to figure out how to put that into the equation. Okay, so I'm going to give you the steps. Step 1. Step 1 is to input m, and over here I put x1, y1, that's the points, into a new formula. It's called point-slope form. Whereas before we had slope-intercept form. Okay, point-slope form is y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. Okay, this is just a formula. You can use other formulas for this. There's a bunch of different ways to solve this, but for me this is the one that I found most useful in writing the equation. Okay, step 2. Well, when I have this equation, when I substitute, we have to do something. Okay, the first thing that you should do after your input is use the distributive property on, I said RHS, that just means the right hand side. Okay, so this stuff over here, you're just going to use the distributive property there. Okay, that's constant, you're always going to do that. And step 3, what you're going to do is convert into slope-intercept form, which I put it right here, is y equal to mx plus b. Okay, so kind of similar to, instead of having standard form and getting slope-intercept form, I give you this different formula, and we have to convert into slope-intercept form. Alright, so while I do, I'm going to give you 3 examples. You might want to write this down, okay, off to the side, so I would say pause the video, but I'm going to go through 3 examples. Hopefully this does help. And again, at the end of this video, you can go to the classroom website where it says algebra practice problems if you want to practice these on your own as well, where I give you the problem and the answer, and you have to practice that. But let's go through some problems. Okay, so I'll keep referencing these steps here. Okay, so I'm going to give you a slope and a point. Let's say our slope is m equal to 2 and our point is 4, 7. Okay, well, while I'm doing this, I'm just going to put x1, y1. Alright, so when we have these things, what I want to do is put this in point-slope form. Alright, that was our first step. Point-slope form, that's where we have y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. So very carefully, we're going to put these things into this formula, wherever we see it. Alright, so with this, I'm going to put, I'm going to rewrite the formula. I'm going to have y minus, well, our y1 here is, well, I wrote over here, our y1 just means our first y. It's 7, so I'm going to put 7 right over there. Okay. Equal to m. Well, m, we have it over here. It's positive 2, so I'll put plus 2. And then now I have to put parentheses here. Okay, it says x minus x1. Well, we have x minus x1. Well, x1 over here is 4, so I'm going to put 4 over here. Okay. Notice how when I simplified, I just kind of use different colors here. If you want to use different colors, it may help you. But anything that was in black, that came from the original equation. Okay, the original equation of point-slope form. Anything that was in color, that's what I simplified, that's what I input. So this 7 and the 4, where did they come from? They came from the point. And this positive 2, well, it tells me that positive 2 was the m here. That came from our slope. Okay, now we simplify. Well, if you look at our steps, first step was to input. We've done that successfully. Now the second step is to distribute, use the distributive property on the right hand side. Okay, well, if I look over here, I'm using the distributive property, so I'm going to cover this up with these things here. Now, what the distributive property means is that when I have a number, or it could be a letter potentially, outside the parentheses, I distribute or I multiply. So I'm gonna just draw arrows here. Okay, and the way that I remember this is that when I see these arrows, I think of football. I think of the guy on the outside as a quarterback, and he's throwing to these wide receivers. So what I remember, when you use the distributive property, multiply. So wide receivers, when I turn this over, it becomes an M. This is not a gang sign. This just means that I multiply. The M means to multiply. Okay, so I'm gonna rewrite this on the left-hand side. Nothing happened with that. Y minus 7 equal to, well, you multiply, right? The quarterback is throwing to his wide receivers. X, or 2 times X, is just 2X. Okay, and positive 2 times negative 4. Positive times negative is a negative, and 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, even though this is a negative 8, you can still think of that as subtracting. Alright, so we use the distributive property successfully. Now what I have to do is we look at step 3. Okay, step 3 says to convert to slope-intercept form. So I need to get this y by itself, followed by the mx term, and then plus b. Alright, we don't have y by itself. We have to get that to the other side. Well, simply we're subtracting 7, so we do the opposite. We do the inverse. I'm going to add 7 over here, and I'm going to add 7 somewhere on the right-hand side. Am I going to put it under the 2x? No, because they're not like terms. But I could put under this negative 8, because they are. So plus 7 over here. Alright, so this goes away. We're going to have y equal to, well, 2x comes down. Negative 8 plus 7. Well, you're going to subtract it to have different signs. So it's going to be minus 1. Alright, so that is the equation. Given slope and a point. We have to use point slope form. So that's the first example. Okay, if you need to rewind that, go ahead and rewind it, pause it, whatever you need to do. Alright, so I'm gonna give you the next example. We're gonna increase in difficulty here. Alright, so let's remember those steps that we had. So the next one is where I give you m equal to negative 5. And the second one, our point is going to be 6 and minus 1. Okay, so given this, I'm just going to write point slope form. Y minus y1 equal to m, and then parentheses, x minus x1. Okay, so we substitute here. Y minus, so I'll put y minus our y1. Well, this is x1, this is y1. So I'm going to put that negative 1 over here. So I'm going to put negative 1. I'm going to put that in parentheses because we have 2 negative signs. I gotta really separate them. Alright, equal to our m. Well, our m over here is a minus 5, so I'm going to put minus 5. And let's put parentheses. We have x minus x1, so I'm going to put x minus x1 over here is a positive 6. I'm just going to put positive 6. Alright. Well, looking at this, our second step after that is to use the distributive property. Okay, so right over here. So I'm going to rewrite the left-hand side. Y, well, I'm just going to simplify this. Minus is a positive, so I'm going to put y plus 1 equal to. And now we multiply. So negative 5 times x is a negative 5x. And negative 5 times a negative 6 is a positive 30. Okay, now with this, that was the second step. Now we have to get y by itself, so let's get rid of this plus 1. Okay, to get rid of plus 1, we're going to subtract 1, put it right over here, and also under this 30, right, because they're like terms. So I'm going to have y equal to negative 5x, and 30 minus 1 is just plus 29. Alright. And that's the equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, where I have my slope, right over here, it's the number that's in front of x, and my y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, and the last example. Okay, So in this case, we're gonna have our slope is y, or m, equal to 4 over 3. So now we have a fraction. All right, and our point is 5, 3. Okay. So again, I'm gonna put x1 and y1. So again, it usually helps me when I write point slope form, so I'm gonna write it. Okay. So y minus y1 equal to m. I'm gonna go fast through this one. X minus x1. Okay. So with this, y minus y1, well, y minus y1 is positive 3, equal to m, well, it's 4/3. Okay. And x minus x1, well, x minus x1 is 5. Okay. So with this, again, we use the distributive property, so I'm going to multiply a fraction. Okay. Now before I multiply a fraction, I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna put this in green here. Whenever you multiply a number times a fraction, so let's say hypothetically something that's different from this, I'll give you 3 over 5. We're gonna multiply that by 6. Okay. Whenever you multiply a number times a fraction, what you do is just the simple way of just multiply that number times the numerator. Well, if I did that, 3 times 6 is 18, and you keep the denominator, which is 5. Okay, so it's 18/5. I'll give you another one. What if I switched it? Let's say I have 4 times a fraction, which is, we'll say 2/7. All right. Well, same sense, you just multiply that number times the numerator. So 4 times 2, which is 8, and put that over 7. So that's how you multiply a number times a fraction. All right. So with this, I'm going to rewrite the left-hand side, y minus 3. And 4 over 3x is just that. It's just 4 over 3x. And 4 over 3 times a negative 5. Well, like we said, you just multiply that number times the numerator. So positive times the negative is a negative. 4 times 5 is 20. I'm going to put 20 over 3. Okay. Now over here, we have to get y by itself. So we're subtracting 3. I'm going to add 3 over here. So add 3, add 3. Okay, so this goes away. Right, we use the inverse. So now y equal to, we're going to have 4/3 x. Right, I got that from my slope. Now minus 20 over 3 and then plus 3, we're subtracting here. I really have to get a common denominator because I'm adding and subtracting fractions. So I'm going to put this off to the left or right hand side. So negative 20 over 3, and I'm adding 3. Well, I first have to make this 3 become a fraction. You cannot add a number to a fraction just because you want to. So I'm going to put this making 2 a fraction. You put that by doing it over 1. Well, with this, we have uncommon denominators, so 3 and 1. But I can make those numbers become a common 1. They can both become 3, right? This 3 is already a 3. But what do I multiply this 1 to be a 3? Well, I just multiply 1 times 3. Okay. And if you multiply a number to the denominator, you have to do it to the top as well to retain that this is the same fraction. Alright, so we're going to have negative 20 over 3 plus, we'll simplify this. 3 times 3 is 9 over 3. Okay, let's simplify that. Well, negative 20 plus 9 is negative 11. Okay, and the denominator stays the same. It doesn't become 6. Don't think of that as you're adding those. You just keep the denominator, so it's just 3. Alright, so we simplified this part. It is negative 11/3. So I'm going to write minus 11/3. Alright, and that's our equation in slope-intercept form. Even though the y-intercept, it is a fraction, it kind of looks kind of odd, but that is the y-intercept. Alright, so with this, it was kind of a long video. If you need practice, go to the practice problems section on my website. Alright.